Why is singing so hard? If you want one-on-one lessons, drop me an email or book directly through my website, links in the description. So, why is singing so hard? Frankly, I would say for the majority, it isn't. Most singers are learning from a relatively blank slate. If you go to my previous video about vocal tension being good, most singers can engage some good tension. They've got correct wiring between the mind and the muscle, but at a certain point, they kind of get lazy with those muscles. They don't really know what to do, and they kind of hit a glass ceiling. It's kind of a soft glass ceiling, should we say. That's the majority of singers, in all honesty. Most singers have a relatively blank slate, and they're just building on what they have. The true hard cases, and the answer to why is singing so hard, this question applies to the minority, to say the 15% that are true hard cases. They have a miswiring between the mind and the muscle, and they have a lot more, whatever range they have, generally the toughest case is just with it outside of speaking range. As soon as they go outside of speaking range, they panic and grab with outer muscles. The outer muscles inhibit the right muscles from working. And the process for this singer is very different to the process for the majority. Most coaching information on YouTube is for the majority. It's for that 80%, 85% who are basically learning to sing. They are learning to, discover more of the right muscles, engage the right muscles more, and extend their range, find more grip, if you want, on the right muscles. Start to develop that skill further. And it's that 15% who are really in no man's land. There's very little help for them on YouTube. There's very little help for them generally from the voice coaching community. And there are good reasons for this. Frankly, for this type of singer, in a lot of ways, their journey is exponentially larger depending on how much of this outer muscle interference they have, how much of this miswiring they have, and for how long it's been become a reflex for them. The prospect of them improving is very, very challenging. So the prospect for the majority is this. And when I say the majority, I'm talking about all the students I have. I'm talking about the open mics I go to, the people I've seen out singing. Most people don't find singing that hard, believe it or not. But for this minority, the process for them is, whilst they're trying to discover the right muscles, they've got this horrible kind of curse or cancer on their voice, or curse on their back, shall we say. Every time they're trying to discover these muscles, interference. And keep in mind, this is a spectrum. You've got, the cleanest technicians from the get-go who have no interference at all and are just pure learning singers. Then you have like hard cases who just barely outside of chest voice have massive interference. Most people are leaning towards cleanness, and then as you go down and down the deep dark hole that is being a struggling singer, you will find you get less and less people there, right in the dungeons, shall we say. But the prospect for them is, as they're learning these muscles, they're trying to let go of the panic and let go of the grab. And so they have this constant tug of war for quite a significant amount of time where anything they try and do, they grab in the wrong way. And that grab effectively stops the mechanism from working. So they're in this kind of catch-22 situation. Whenever they try and use the right muscles, the wrong muscles engage. And when the wrong muscles engage, they can't use the right muscles. The stuff I talk about is in a lot of ways tailored more towards these types of singers. Basically, the raggy dolls of singers. I don't know if you've ever seen this show. When I was a kid, there was a TV show called The Raggy Dolls. And it was about these rejects from the doll factory who had this this group hidden away in the factory, like in a little corner somewhere, and they would go on little adventures. But they were the rejects from the doll factory, and very much hard case singers are the rejects from the vocal coach factory. They're not going to get any help from the majority of coaches, in all honesty, and any help they do get will nudge them forward a little bit. But the process they have to go through is actually a process more akin to trying to fix a stammer or a stutter for a speaker than it is to do with learning to sing. It has as much in common with that. If you do a YouTube search for how to fix a stammer, these types of searches, you'll find useful information, frankly, in regards to how to fix a lot of outer muscle interference for singers. This is somewhat obvious, you're working with the voice, you're working with problems with the voice, you'd think there'd be some crossover, but it's in a more profound way, because for somebody who's more of a blank slate, for the majority, they are strengthening and building the connection that's already there. For the hard cases, they're trying to build a new connection and dismantle and slowly let go of an old set of connections to the wrong muscles. This is why information from coaches on YouTube and information about learning technique is so complicated and difficult to get across to students, because you can give information to one person that will work perfectly, and then to somebody else it will do nothing because of this background context that I'm talking about, this deeper level of what's really going on for the tougher singers versus the more natural singers. The more you can figure out who you are and where you're at with this process, and if you're watching this type of video, more than likely you're somebody who's not necessarily going to find it as easy as most people will do. The more you're going to try to figure out, where am I on this spectrum between hard case and natural? Like, where is it that I sit? The majority of you watching this will not be hard cases. I can guarantee that. Even if you're somebody who thinks you're a hard case and you're looking for information on YouTube, why is singing so hard for me? The majority of you will not be hard cases. The majority of you will be, even if you have some miswiring, it won't be as bad as you think. But for the true hard cases out there, if you believe I am truly a hard case, you've got to resign yourself to the fact that singing for you is going to be harder than it is for the majority. What is progress for you is going to seem trivial to the majority. What will take hours sometimes for a natural to get may take you 2 years or 3 years to achieve. That can be the difference in terms of the scope of what you're taking on. It can be the difference between, and this is real, I have students who can do in 1 hour what took me about 5 years to achieve. And that can be how stark it is. You'll come across singers, and my favourite singers now, who really got me into singing when I was younger, about 15 years ago, a guy called David. He could do what I can do now with zero work, other than just practicing as a teenager and singing some, and he could achieve that without any formal work. If you got him sat down on a voice lesson, he would be able to do exactly what I can do without that 15-year lump. So you're talking the difference between, for some singers, it can take a few months to get good. For other singers, it can take a decade or more to get to the same point. If you take on singing, you have to resign yourself to this. It's brutally unfair. The rules for some are not the rules for others. Progress for some is meaningless to others. There's something deeply unfair about singing. And in a sense, that makes it great because it sets you up for life. Because life, frankly, is like that. But in another way, it's tough to deal with if you were down in the dungeon with the underlings. Because you have to accept, man, I didn't get that. I didn't get what most people seem to just have, and now I've got to figure it out and work my way up and accept that this might take me some time. Anyway, guys, that on a deeper level is why singing is so hard for some. If you want to take some singing lessons with me, drop me an email or go to my website, book directly. Outside of that, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you very soon. Take care. Bye.